This meeting shall come to order at 6 o'clock on July 9th, 2014. Would you call the roll, please?
Adams. Here. Jones. Here. Zafrati.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Brownlee.
Here.
Jajanski.
Here.
AG. Here. Albert.
Here. May I have a motion to suspend the rules, to suspend the regular council meeting agenda and proceed with the legislation? Call the roll.
Who seconded?
Second.
Adams.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Zafrati.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Brownlee.
Present.
Jajanski.
Yes.
AG.
Yes.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment about this? Only that when you do the rules, when you redo the rules, we have a section in there, so when we have a special meeting, there is a different agenda listed, so you won't have to do that.
I'm going to ask council if it would be appropriate for us to do the part-time 2014 57 and 58, since our lawyer, Mike Esposito, is here this evening, and do that first, kind of do a reverse order. So we could do that piece of legislation first, and then the other three that are pending we would do afterwards. Is that agreeable to all of council? Yes? 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 All right. Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
Ordinance number 2014-57, an ordinance authorizing a collective bargaining agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association of Maple Heights for part-time correction officers and declaring an emergency.
Second reading. At this point, then, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn into an executive session to discuss personnel.
Yeah.
Yes?
Oh, wait a minute, executive session to discuss personnel.
Collective
I need a motion. Collective bargaining. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Adams.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Zafrati.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Brownlee.
No.
Jajanski.
Yes.
AG.
Yes.
Does he get to go to executive session?
You are not planning on attending the session? Is that what your intent is?
If this is how we choose to deliberate on this piece of business, then yes, but I don't believe that it's required in any way that after the contract is already done up, that we have to go to executive session.
Well, we have two lawyers here. Perhaps we can get a reading from them.
The contract isn't done up, it's a tentative agreement right now. So the reason I'm here tonight is to talk to the legislative body about what's in the tentative agreement, answer any questions they have, and of course, legislative body has the opportunity to approve or disapprove the tentative agreement. After that is done, after you approve or disapprove, then it gets to the contract stage, something like that. So that's what you have running in that plan for this evening. Just to clear that up.
Very good. I'd like to change my vote to yes on executive session.
Okay.
May I have a motion to come out of the executive session?
So moved.
Rejoin the regular meeting here?
Second.
Alex and Jackson? Call the roll, please.
Zafrati.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Brownlee.
Yes.
Jajanski.
Yes.
AG. Adams. Jones.
Yes.
Time is noted at 7. No.
6:47.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
6:47. Okay.
Either side.
Do you want to mention this, or you want to give us a second reading? This is been done already.
Oh, yes. This 2014-54 We have,
57, we already read it.
okay, I'm sorry. Well, that's right, we could. Is there a possibility that we could do a suspension of the rules and place this resolution on the third and final reading?
Which one are we talking about?
57, the one that we just talked about? No, I'm just asking if there's a possibility.
I think waiting's not.
No,
So it's on
Yeah, I
second
don't think
reading.
waiting's gonna hurt anything.
Second reading.
I think waiting a week and get that information isn't gonna hurt.
And that will make a difference for him? Really? Okay, excellent.
Ordinance number 2014-58, an ordinance authorizing a collective bargaining agreement with the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association of Maple Heights for full-time correction officers and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is on its second reading. And we go back to 2014-54.
Resolution number 2014-54, a resolution amending ordinance number 2014-27 to make supplemental appropriations for current expenses and expenditures of the city of Maple Heights for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2014, and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is on its third reading. Is there any further discussion?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Did you have any contact with Ed Wren about the capital?
Yes, they've changed. These new appropriations were passed on.
All of them, they should be, yes, they should be on there.
On top of all the other paper that I just shuffled and gave you last. Okay, so it's-
It'll have the date on the bottom left-hand side is 7/9.
I see it, okay. Or-
Was that the only one that was in question, Irene?
When we left the other night, that was my charge, was to speak with Ed, and I spoke to
Correct.
him about 4:30 today. So the numbers under 410, Fund 410, the revenue, it's on page 3, the last page of the revenue, page 3 of 3.
Well, that's where the extra one came from.
Yeah, we got the first one.
That's on the revenue, capital.
I only passed out one. Is this the revenue? Oh, you had two.
Yeah, this is the revenue.
I thought they were all the same. I'm sorry. Okay, wait.
Okay, first we're looking at the appropriations, and that would be the page 13 of 14. Are we on that one?
What's that?
No, we're looking at page 3. This one that you passed on.
Number 3, page 3. That's 410 is on page 3. Remember? Okay. And then the other information that Irene was going to check was the capital improvement audit. Is that correct, Irene?
Yes, they were changed on the expenses and the revenue.
Correct.
On page 14, under, not page 14, I'm sorry.
13.
Under 410. These are the projects that Mr. Wren listed today.
Do you know what page that is? Eileen?
Yes, it's on
13
page.
and 14 is 13.
Second last page.
Okay.
It's on page 13. It's under 410. And the amended appropriation column, the 235,000. Those are the projects that he says the city is currently working on.
Okay. Any further questions on this?
Madam President,
Yes, Alex, go ahead.
I just emailed Irene for some information. I had looking through the appropriations, and I noticed a big increase in the mayor's office, and I requested information, and Irene's going to get it for me. I'm coming up with an increase of 25,281. I was just wondering if my figures was right, and why there was such an increase when all the rest of the funds are being cut?
Go ahead, please.
When we had our discussion last night or Monday night, we talked about reallocating the fringe benefits on page, I think it was page 7. That $1,000,009 on page 7. And we had talked about reallocating that amount, so you'll see a negative $1,000,009 there. It was allocated to the respective funds. So that's the majority, 25,000 of the number you're asking about, I think, for the mayor. I mean, that's the majority of it, was for the fringe. If you look on the fringe benefit line, you'll see the 25, which was the same for all of the funds. They all increased because of the fringe benefits reallocation.
It's 514.
I think it's 25,500 or something. On page 5 is what we were looking at. So you'll see on the fringe benefit line, the 23,000 change there for the spreading of those expenses,
Yes, I see.
which was similar for all of the funds. Okay.
Any further discussion, questions?
Yes. Would we be able to have the finance director come up here and join us, please? I think that'd be
Can you
best
ask,
practice.
can you ask a question, and then she can?
Why can't she join us?
Irene, the request is that you join us, or do you prefer to stand there, whatever your
Well, it was
preference
my
is?
understanding from the meeting last night that we were sort of finished with this, so we're not going, I mean, we finished our discussion last night, except for the Ed Grant issue,
Mhm.
so.
That was the only thing we had.
So I don't know what else I could offer.
Well, since she won't join us, I'll ask her while two of our council members have their backs to her. The mayor's office did not only have an increase in fringe benefits, it had an increase in salaries and wages. An increase of more than $2,000. Did someone get a pay raise? Because as far as I understand it, we're actually losing the secretary, the mayor's secretary, is that right?
Well, you already know the answer to that, why are you asking it?
Well, it seems like if we
You already know the answer to it, why are you asking
Is
it?
that correct, Mayor?
You know the answer, that is your answer.
That's cute. So then why
Not as cute as you.
why is the salary and wages not going down? If we lost her, then why are the salaries and wages going up?
Well, she gets a payout. You know about that, right?
Tell us about the payout then.
No, I don't have to, you know about it.
Are you going to stand for this belligerence? Madam
Stand
Mayor?
for what?
Oh, come on.
You know what payouts are.
What was the answer the question?
I did.
Explain the payout.
I did.
How about
You did
vacation,
not.
sick time? Do you
Be
understand
quiet.
that? No, I
You
don't
don't
have a right to tell
You
her.
don't have
Ah,
a right to
okay.
tell
Are you
me.
going to let him be belligerent?
Get the gavel.
I'm talking to all of you at this point in time. Please.
I'm not taking no
Please.
bullshit. Hear that on the camera? And I'm smiling.
Oh, my word.
Just answer the question.
Oh my word.
Yeah, what's wrong with answering the
Answer
question?
Yeah, what's wrong with
I
answering the
did
question?
answer the question, you know
Did he
the
answer the
answer.
question?
Why can't you just figure it out? You know, you've been on council.
You know the
Why,
answer. Every
Madam
employee
Chair,
who
question.
leaves.
Could we start all over again? Could we
Please.
please start all over again? Your question is why a payout? There's
I'm not asking
vacation
you,
time,
Jackie.
there's sick time.
Jackie, I'm not asking you.
Well, I'm going to answer it and
No,
perhaps.
you have no. Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
I'm a member of the
Really?
body
Who do
trying
you
to
think
ask a
you are? You
question.
know the answer. Employees get payouts. They get vacation. They get sick time. They get comp time. I don't have a dollar amount of what she has coming, okay? It's the same when the fire department had employees who left.
Madam Chair, I move to remove the mayor from this meeting and
Oh,
continue to act this
boy.
way.
You don't have to,
I
I may
move
leave
to
on my
remove the
own.
mayor from this meeting for being disruptive.
Madam
Let's-
Chair.
Is there a second?
Cease and desist,
Please
Since
all
you
of
can't ask
it.
for a second.
Mr. Brownlee.
I answered your question.
Talking,
I motion to a 15-minute recess.
Thank you, Richard.
I second that.
Yeah.
Cool down just a little bit for him.
We can discuss things
So let's, can we have
as
the minute?
adults.
Can we have a
don't
motion?
have to
It's been
be-
motioned.
Would you
seconded.
wait one moment,
We
please?
don't have to be
You were not
obnoxious.
recognized.
Do we call the roll on the
Point of
motion?
order then.
That's a switch.
a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the floor, please.
For a 15-minute recess, Sefrati,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Brownlee,
Yes.
Trzynski,
Yes.
AG,
Yes.
Adams, Jones.
Yes.
The time is
6:58,
6:58.
6:58. Take a walk and cool off a little
15
bit,
minutes.
please. Could we turn the camera off while we're,
People,
Negative.
please turn the camera off, Mr.
you
Brownlee?
really think that insulting people is funny?
Tell me how to do my business.
Reason for a recess, so everybody can be quiet.
You can record it.
Be quiet and
Yeah.
then discuss why we're at
Just-
each other?
Hey, look,
It's not gonna solve it.
members of the council who are in recess, it might be best if you're going to discuss anything, to discuss it in another room.
Do I have a motion to reconvene our meeting at 6:57? Very observant. Call the roll, please.
Sefrati,
Yes.
Brownlee,
Yes.
Trzynski,
Yes.
AG, Adams, Jones.
We are here to vote on a resolution 2014-54. If there are any lingering questions that we need to have, that have not been brought forward at all between yesterday and today and Monday, I will entertain them for probably 2 minutes. And if Irene, our finance director, would like to answer them, that would be fine. But they have to be new questions. Let's not go over the same territory that we have. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Mr. Brownlee?
This is for the law director, or assistant law director. In this meeting about our appropriations, is it fitting to ask any questions and to expect answers to those questions as they relate to the expenditures of the city?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr.
you know, I don't think there's any limit on asking questions or requesting responses. Normally, that takes place prior to third reading. It was my understanding we vetted this particular issue pretty thoroughly last night. Normally, on third readings, you give a statement of position as to why you feel the way you do about the legislation before you, and if it wants to be rebutted because of your feelings, I would think that would be an appropriate response by any department head. Okay?
Madam Chair?
Mr. Brownlee?
We were entertaining a question regarding, in the general fund, the expenditures within the mayor's office. That's on page 5, the bottom of page 5 of the appropriations. And there it states under salary and wages that we are anticipating an increase of $2,000 to salaries and wages. I would ask for an explanation as to why there's going to be an increase on that line item.
Would you like to answer that, Irene?
Yes, I can. During the transition, as we all know, Ms. Tara, maybe the last name is leaving. So for a minute, there's a doubling of salary in that position. And I mean, it's just an estimate, so. And we only pay what's actually earned, but I'm just saying, we just appropriated some extra dollars. It may go for a month. So I'm not sure, but my understanding is that she'll be here for a few more weeks. So, but it's a budgeted number, it's not an actual, and no one's being paid that number unless it's earned. All of these are budgeted numbers, and they all may come under or what have you. So, but it was just placed there to ensure that we did not exceed that line item.
Thank you. Now, may I have a motion for
Madam Chair.
adoption, please?
Madam Chair, another question.
I believe is there anyone else who has a question here? You've already asked several. Is there anyone else who needs to ask a question?
Madam
or
Chair,
anything? Go ahead.
Tara, she's still working, you said? She's still at the mayor's office?
Mayor?
Mayor?
Yes, she is.
She is currently using some of her vacation. She is training her replacement
That's the
when
double
she's here.
motion.
She will be leaving near the end of the month of July, beginning of August.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Brownlee?
So the position of Mayor's Secretary has already been filled. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I think we
You're
just
not
said that
asking
she's
me,
training
but I
her
can answer.
replacement, so that means it's been filled.
So it has been filled. As of what date was it filled?
I don't know.
Mayor?
I believe there's a motion on the floor. If I'd like to.
I'm still waiting a response, Madam Chair, for the question. As of what date was the new
And the answer was
replacement?
she didn't know.
So I'm asking the mayor, as of what date was the replacement hired?
It was recently,
So recently as in a week?
last
as in a
couple of
month?
weeks,
Okay.
week and a half.
Thank you, Mayor.
I don't know the exact date. I'll have to look in my calendar.
Okay. Now that I have a motion on the floor.
Madam Chair?
May I have a motion
question?
for adoption, please?
So moved.
Madam Chair?
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Seconded.
I appeal the
Seconded.
decision of the chair to close
Thank you.
discussion.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair, point of order. There is an appeal.
Is there any further
There's an
discussion?
appeal. You need to pause and ask for a second on the appeal to your decision to end discussion.
Madam Chair, is there a second
There was a second, yes.
to the appeal?
No,
I second.
you're seconding the appeal?
Yes, I think all questions should be asked and answered.
Well, I'm also asking for further discussion once the motion has been moved and seconded. That isn't sufficient?
Oh, yeah. As long as your discussion can continue until all questions are answered. Then
Very well, I withdraw my move to appeal.
The motion has been moved and seconded, and
I
I've
did it.
already asked
I did not get the second. You seconded it.
Richard.
Richard,
Okay.
no?
No, who did?
This is for adoption.
For adoption,
I need
yes,
people
you
to,
did.
I need everybody to speak up because we only have one microphone. Okay? Thank you.
And once again, if there is any further discussion, it should be brought forward now.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Brownlee?
The document we were given tonight for the appropriations is different from the document we received prior. And I would ask the finance director where all those changes were made. What funds or line items were those made?
I stated earlier that in Fund 410 for the capital, that's where they were made.
That's the only place that they were made.
Yes.
And what prompted these changes that we see before us now?
Based on our discussion last night.
So what were the reasons for changing it?
Madam, could I refer him to the minutes from last night? I mean, I feel like I'm being interrogated. We had this discussion last night in terms of what we had planned to do in regards to 410. I stated at the beginning of my presentation what happened, so I'm not sure this line of questioning.
Madam Chair, you said
You
you
have
spoke.
one more minute.
Madam Chair, Ms. Finance Director, you said that you talked with Ed Wren. Is that what prompted these changes?
I gave my report.
So were you going to answer that
I've
question?
answered it already.
So-
I gave it when we first came in here.
Yes or no?
I gave my report.
The conversation with Ed Wren prompted these changes?
She's answered that twice.
No, she has not.
Yes, she has.
Jeff?
Actually, she has.
So, excuse me, Mr. Melling, is she under no obligation to answer the question?
That would be correct.
No obligation to answer the question.
That would be correct.
So we can ask questions and get no answers.
Well, technically, what you do is you state your position as it relates to the legislation that's presented. If there's an issue that causes you to take a position, she gets the opportunity to rebut. Candidly speaking, if you're asking my opinion, I'm not much on the debate format or the interrogation format. I much prefer, this is what I think about this particular proposal, and if someone who's a department head has a differing opinion and wants to try and sway your thinking because of information they might have as a department head, they then would rebut the position by giving an explanation that might satisfy.
So when I ask for information, she doesn't have to answer.
Well, you understand she's a department head. She gathers information from a number of different resources.
Answer
That's
my
her-
question, please.
that's-
I asked for information.
I'm in the process.
No, you're in the process of dancing around.
I am not dancing. I'm explaining to you that you're not permitted to interrogate her in this format.
Who's talking about interrogating?
That's exactly
This isn't a
what
Marine.
this is.
What is it?
No.
Okay. The question
State your
is,
position.
why
State your
was,
position.
that is incorrect. That is not all we can
It's
do here to
third
state
reading.
our
You're
position.
going to have discussion,
So-
tell the body what you
Madam Chair.
think. Tell them what your position is on this legislation. Let them
Chair.
know what you're thinking.
Could you
Don't hide the
please
ball.
encourage him to end his comment?
I am not going to recognize you any longer, Mr. Brownlee, because this is turning into a great debate with you as the interrogator, and we are not here to do that. We are
We're
here,
here to have a discussion
we are
about
here to have a
legislation.
discussion, and you have brought forward at least 3 times now the same question, which has been answered, and you're not
What is
satisfied with
the
that.
answer then?
State your position,
Just
and
vote
we'll
no.
move on
What is your
to
answer?
another
What is the
person.
answer? If everyone
You're
knows
gonna
the
vote no
answer,
anyway.
what is the answer? Can anyone else answer that question?
I would
did
be
what-
happy to answer it, but twice you have told me that you didn't want to hear from me.
Madam Chair, did the changes to the appropriation come as a result of the finance director's conversation with Mr. Wren?
And I do believe that any one of us can answer that because we all heard the answer.
What was it, Madam Chair? Would you please help a poor councilman who doesn't know?
The answer is yes.
Yes, okay, very good.
Thank you.
So,
Now, we'd like to
Madam
move
Chair,
on.
I have a
No, I'm
question.
sorry, your time is up.
In response to that.
Your time is up.
Just for clarification, because I didn't hear, you came in on the railroad distribution last night, you was going to clear up for us that there was monies coming into the railroad distribution fund. Did you find an answer for that?
I was not able, the law director's not here. I think I said we were talking legal about that, and Mr. Montello, I think, is on vacation. So I was not able to talk, and I'm sorry I didn't ask Attorney Blair. I didn't think to ask you about it, but no.
No,
All
it's
I
a good
had-
thing, it's just that for my clarification, that money's coming in or isn't.
Right, these are dollars that we have actually received.
Yes.
And I think the question was whether or not we were entitled to them or may have to refund
Yes,
them.
ma'am.
That I can't answer, I was waiting to talk with the law director. When is he returning?
Monday.
Monday,
Mhm.
so on Monday, I'll be able
Thank
to
you.
talk with Mr. Montel.
Okay.